Hey lovelies! So today, as promised, I'm going to do my fun little Q&A with you. So I'm sure you all know how these things work, but just so you know how this one's gonna go. So on my Instagram, I had put up a little sticker question so that you guys could ask me questions that you wanted me to answer in this video. So I'm going to be answering all of the questions you gave me because they're all really great and they're honestly really fun too. Some of them I wouldn't have even thought to even ask myself, so let's just get right into it. So I did also want to mention just one quick little thing, just that I'm going to be keeping these questions anonymous, just so it's easier for everybody. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable by sticking their name here, so they're all going to be anonymous questions. But anyway, let's get to the first one, which is actually might be one of the most requested ones. I got it a couple times, so well, one similar to this at least. So this one is, what is your favorite LPS? And well, I think we all know what I'm gonna say for this one, and it is none other than my mascot, Serenity. Yes, I know her name doesn't have anything to do with my name or the username I use, Valentina LPS, but that's another story. I think I picked her as my mascot back in 2022, so she wasn't always my mascot. So if you're curious, originally my mascot was my character August from my short film In Between the Lines and then my Valentine's special. So I know it's kind of pretty different, and then I ended up making her a character, but I just wanted you to know that I technically didn't always have this LPS as my mascot. But I chose her because, well, first of all, I really like her design. I like the dots. I know a lot of Dachshunds have these dots, but I like her particular design. I like the eyes. They're kind of unique with the snowflakes and just the black and brown combo. And then what I've also done to sort of make her more customized to me and have her as my mascot is I gave her glasses because I have glasses. And then, like, the different outfits you'll see her wearing are partially because I like them and partially for the different holidays, honestly. Anyway, I wish I had some sort of better, like, really fun backstory I could give you, or, like, more of a story as to why she's my favorite and why she's my mascot, but I really just love her and her design, and I sort of tried to make her my own, giving her the glasses and such so she reflects me better. Alright, so the next question is actually kind of similar, so that's why I'm doing it next. So this one is, what is your favorite LPS that is not your mascot? Well, if we start with main fives, I do have a few in mind. Now, I'm not going to talk about all of them because that would take way too long, honestly, but I'll just talk about 3 of them that really stand out to me, and then I'll just show you some more, including some non-main fives, so you can get an idea of those as well. But let me just grab the first one here. So she is one of my favorites, I think partially because of the character I've made for her, and also her style. So if you'll know, I've given her like these glasses, and she's got a necklace, a sweater vest, and this bow. So I've sort of created this particular look for her, which I kind of resonate with. I feel like she kind of looks like how I look in real life to a degree. I mean, I've got glasses, I kind of have a certain style. She kind of has a bit of maybe dark academia, a bit of a bookish style, in a good way. I mean these all in good ways. And I just really love the look I've created for her and her character. She's coming up in my next short film, in case you didn't know. So you're gonna see her soon. Just a little turnaround for you to see her, but I'm sure you're all pretty familiar with this LPS. Alright, so next up we have, this is actually a custom collie that I bought off eBay. I wish I could tell you who made it, but I'm not really sure. I don't mean to be blanking here, but I bought this one a while ago and I didn't know, like, I don't know the person who actually made it, so I'm sorry about that. But I did get this one on eBay, so you can always check to see if you want one like this. There might be more. But anyway, this is Win. This is a character I recently created. I had this one for a bit and I was like not really sure what I wanted to do with it. And then, well, now they're Win. They are a non-binary character of mine. I really like their design. I really love the colors, and their eyes are kind of like a shiny blue. You maybe can't tell on camera, but they're like a shiny blue, and I just think they're really pretty. And then I made this like shirt and cardigan thing. I know it's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I wanted to sort of make something that I thought would match their style. And then they've got their little bag with them. So again, this is sort of a similar reason I like them a lot because of the character I've made for them. So they're really big, really big into photography, which is something, so they're also in my upcoming short film. They're going to be the main character. So you can expect to see like their interests come through and stuff like that. Alright, so next up we have this one, which is short hair 1120, so 1120, if you weren't sure. I've named this one Carmen. I just thought it really suits her, but the reason why I really like this one is actually mostly just because of her design and her eyes. Like, I don't know about you, but I just love them. The shape, the color, they're simple, but they're so pretty, and I think they match really nicely like with these orange tones. So I just absolutely love her design. It's just so pretty. Like, she's one of the only sort of leopard short hairs. There's another one I don't have, but she was a dream pet for honestly a long time, and I didn't get her until last year. I finally broke down and bought her. Okay, so the next question is also sort of similar. So this is, what's your favorite LPS that is your favorite color? So I actually have kind of two favorite colors. So my first is turquoise. Unfortunately, I actually don't have a lot of turquoise LPS, but I do have one that I'm going to show you. And then secondly is light pink, kind of like peachy pinks, or like the color of these and stuff. So I'm going to show you a few pets for each. Okay, so here is kind of a wide variety of pink. So I like a lot of sort of different kinds of light pink, so I tried to show you. This one, the pig, is maybe more on the peachy side. Then we have this one, which is kind of in the middle. And then I really love this particular Bonbon. She's so sweet. And then we have this lovely guy here, who I have for the turquoise. And again, unfortunately don't have a lot of turquoise LPS, or ones that really looked specifically turquoise or teal. But this one, he's got like some dots, and then he's also this nice light color. Alright, next question is, what is your favorite LPS series? It's kind of hard for me to pick just one, if I'm going to be honest, so I'm going to pick a few for you that I've watched within the last year or so that I really enjoyed. So first up, I really liked Adorkable by Light Goes Roar on YouTube. I watched that last year, and I just thought it was a cute story. I like the characters. I found I was pretty invested in them, and I thought it was a pretty interesting plot line. I don't know if I could say I love everything about it, but I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean to criticize it. I really liked the characters and the storyline. And then I found like it was also a bit like maybe open-ended on the end, so you could maybe do more, but it didn't feel completely open, so I like that you do get a bit of a sort of an ending, so there's that one. Secondly, I've been watching, I think a little more recently, High Society by Thea LPS on YouTube. This one is really, really interesting and kind of suspenseful. I like that you've got like this mystery aspect. You've got like these sort of interesting high-class people in the city setting. I feel like this is just something you don't necessarily see a lot of. And the way she does it so that it actually kind of looks like real TV, with the intros and the scenes setting, those little snippets of the city, and then the music, I think it's just all like really cool and professional, and it's a really compelling story for me too. I'm a bit behind. I needed to watch a few of the most recent episodes, but long story short, I do really like that one, and I'm not going to recommend these just because I don't want to recommend something and then you come back and say, why did you recommend it? I don't like it. But if you'd like, then you can definitely check it out. But I'm just not going to recommend it, just on the safe side. Okay, and then the third one I watched last year is Perception by Sweet LPS TV. I also really love her music videos. But that's a side note. So I thought Perception was a really interesting just series in general. So this has to do with her gender bent characters. And I just think it's really interesting because you do get like each episode is focused around a different character. So you're getting like little pieces that come together to make a bigger story. And I think that's honestly a really interesting idea and something, again, that I don't think you see a lot of. So I really like that as well. I just thought it was really cool. Alright, next up we have, what is your favorite aesthetic? Well, this is actually pretty fun. And not something people actually tend to ask me, so this is fun too for that. So first of all, I guess you would say I kind of like light and dark academia. It's sort of maybe something that is more seen with my style, like the clothes that I wear. Even though you don't really necessarily know what I wear most of the time. Sometimes I do share my outfits on Instagram, but anyway, so I like that. I like kind of, I don't know, brown tones, even like sort of white creamy tones. But that's not all. Like I like a lot of colors. I also like kind of, I don't know if you call it like army sage greens. As for like style, but in general, I'm a little bit more open. I like fairy lights. I'm gonna be honest, I love fairy lights. I have them all over my room. Maybe not all over, but I've got quite a few. I've got some in my window, got some in my mirror, whatnot. I really like them, and then I also like using them in photos sometimes. I just like the soft, cozy feel of it. So in general, I like soft, cozy vibes. I like to be cozy. I like soft lighting. Now, next question is, do you collect anything else? So this is actually a fun one. I would definitely say that LPS are what I collect the most, or what I've been collecting for a while, and I'm a little more hardcore collecting these than anything else. But if you do really want to know, and well, okay, obviously you do, but I collect Pokemon cards, or Pokemon cards. I'm sorry, I'm not always sure how to say it. Sometimes I forget. I promise I'm actually a fan. I'm not, even though I can't say it the best. But long story short, I was really big into these as a child, especially when I was 10. I collected these a lot, and so recently I've gotten back into it, and it's made me really happy, because I'm both reliving my childhood, and I really love the artwork and the art style on a lot of cards. I just think it's really beautiful. Now, I'll say that I don't actually really play the card game. I never learned how. I just like collecting them, collecting sets, and like evolution lines, and seeing if you get any fun pulls, like good pulls. I have like a tiny bit of knowledge, not a ton, but again, long story short, that is something else that I collect. Alright, so next up we have, do you do any digital art? If so, can you show some? Well, I'm going to be honest, I don't really know how to make digital art. Now, I'm not saying that I've never done it. I have tried, so I'm going to show you a few things. But I'm more of a traditional artist. I use paper and pencils, and then I have a bunch of Copic markers that I use a lot. So that's kind of what I mainly use to make art because it's what I know how to use and what I'm good at. Now, I will also say that I do have Clip Studio Paint for my computer, and then a sort of separate plug-in drawing pad thing. It's not really a drawing tablet, but you can plug it into the side of your computer and you use it as like the drawing surface, but it doesn't have a screen, so it's one like that. If you know what I'm talking about, I could maybe insert a picture so it's not as confusing. But anyway, so I do have the software. I don't know how to use it. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how to use it, and I can't really get the drawing tablet to work anytime I try to use it, so it kind of frustrates me. But to answer the question whether on the side of the things I have done, I did when I first got it. I got the tablet to work and I drew an old OC of mine. Her name is Susie. She's just like a little character from these comics I did as a kid. So if I can show you that, I will. And then on my phone, they're not really fancy, but I've done Pride Cats. You maybe might have seen, I had shared them on my story one day. I myself am a member of the lovely queer community, which I will be doing a different question on this later on in the video. But anyway, so I did some Pride Cats that I can show you. And then I have tried to do a few little things on my phone since I can't really get my tablet to work. I thought, well, maybe I can do stuff on my phone, but it's kind of hard. I don't even have one of those like Apple Pens or anything. But long story short, for the last time, I promise I'm finally gonna make it short. But I don't really know how to do digital art. I've just done like a few little dabbles into it, but I would love to learn. I still do traditional art, so I'm not going to give that up, but I think it would be fun to do both. Okay, this one is really fun too. So how do you come up with your character names? This is honestly one of my favorite things to do. It might seem kind of strange, but I love making names for characters and just coming up with characters. It's just really fun to me. So, it kind of sometimes depends, my little process. So, for example, if we bring this collie back, her name is Quinn. Now, I had her name planned out before I actually even got this LPS, so sometimes I do that if I have a name in mind that I'd like to use. And then sometimes I will actually finally get the LPS and decide that, hey, this name doesn't really work after all, I don't really like it, and I want to choose something different. So sometimes that happens too, but this is just an example of me having pre-picked the name and then still like the name when I got her. So her name is Quinn. So sometimes I do ask you guys too if I'm stuck, and even Google isn't giving me anything that I think works. But also if I am doing a Google search, sometimes if I know like the kind of character I want them to be, like maybe I want them to be an edgy character, so I'll look up like edgy names. Or if it's like a female character, I might look up girls' names or like unique girls' names. Just different things to sort of impact the search and help me find the kind of thing that I'm looking for. But I also think like names are very versatile, so you can use pretty much any name for anybody, any kind of character. I don't think that a name has to be strictly for a certain kind of character or a certain like gender of character. So I like doing that too sometimes, just whatever name I think fits, I like to use it. So hopefully that made some sense to you. Alright, how do you come up with your short films and skits? This is another good question. And I wasn't necessarily expecting this one either because I haven't really had my channel that long. I think since August maybe, which I guess is kind of a long time, but still. I'm still kind of new. But thank you for asking me anyway. So one thing that actually is usually an inspiration for my films is just two characters that maybe I want to be together or I think could make a good couple. Now, not everything I plan is like has to do with romance or whatnot, but I just I find it's inspiration a lot of the time. Like for example, if you take again that short film In Between the Lines with Riley and August, this was inspired because I wanted them to be a couple. I wanted to show them getting together and sort of like the obstacles that they had to overcome to get to that point of being together and knowing how they feel about each other. So I like to sort of hopefully approach each one in a bit of a different way because I've got a lot of different couples, well, about 3 at this point. I'm not necessarily counting the bakery skit. It was more for fun. So if we're thinking on that, that's a sort of a bit of an inspiration sometimes. It's just characters that I want to show how they get together and sort of make them a couple. Or if we do consider my skit, that was a little different. That one, I just wanted to do something that was more fun. So I kind of thought about, well, what could be fun? And I know I've seen other people do little skits where they're kind of just more lighthearted. Maybe not always realistic either. I mean, oops. Sorry there. Because that bakery was running maybe a little too smoothly, honestly. But it was just all in fun. Alright, so the next question is, one of you was just wondering what my next video is going to be. So I'll give you a little idea. I'll try not to talk too much and no spoilers. I'm not spoiling anything for you. Don't worry. So this one, I did give like a few little mentions before. So this is centered around my character Win. They are non-binary, and they're the central mainmost character of the film. And then we also have Ash, and then they have a sister Ellie, and then we also have their best friend Remy, and then some more side characters including like teachers and their mom and stuff. So this is focusing mainly on them. They're really big into photography, so you're gonna see that as a big theme. They're gonna be in a photography class, which has a big part. So that's like a little idea. I don't want to give away too much. And then they're gonna be, so they meet Ash in their photography class. I'm not gonna say how things go or whether or not they're gonna be, you know, together or anything, because they might just be friends, so you don't know that. No spoilers. But this is just sort of like the characters and a little bit of an idea, but I don't want to give too much away, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Alright, this one is mildly related, just because it has to do with my characters. So, favorite LPS characters you've created? Well, I think I like most characters I've created, not necessarily how I've executed them. I'm thinking of like my very first short film, but I'm not blaming myself because I was still like just starting out then, and I still have a lot to learn. I'm not perfect, but if I had to pick, I think I would have to go with Riley and August. Yeah, I don't know. I like how they turned out. I really like their dynamic. And I like that they're not really, like, they're pretty different from each other, but they also show that they can be vulnerable. Well, Riley kind of already is, but August is not necessarily someone to be openly vulnerable a lot of the time, but she becomes willing to be vulnerable around both her sister, and then later Riley, because she just wants Riley to know how she feels, and Riley wants her to know how she feels. And then if you've seen my skit In Between the Lines, you'll know that there's obstacles in the way. I won't give anything too much away if you don't know how it goes, but well, it's kind of hard not to because they do end up being a couple. I'm sorry, I know, but I just kind of had to say it to answer the question because I like how they get together. I like their story. Okay, so the next question is molds you want to see return with the Gen 7 LPS. So this is kind of an interesting one. I think there's a number of molds that are sort of favorite molds for mine that I think would be fun to return. So these include, I like the sea turtles, bonbon cats, lop-eared bunnies, they're so cute, ferrets, cows, sheep, corgis, I don't know, there's quite a few molds that I like, but that's just a few of them. I think it could be fun for them to return. Alright, so next question is favorite Instagram post you've ever made. So since I mostly take and just make photography posts, I'm going to pick from those. So I'm going to try to insert the picture on here somewhere. Hopefully I can. So my favorite is actually one of my slightly more recent posts. I used this collie, but she wasn't wearing this outfit. And then I also used these little purple flowers, fairy lights, and a white frame thing. If you know the post I'm talking about, but again, I'm going to try to put it up here so you can see it. So, I don't know, I really like how those ones came out. I did some different ones with the same setup, just different flowers and things and pets a little bit. But I don't know, there's something about that one, the colors, and also that pet is just really photogenic, I think. So I think she looked really good with the flowers and the colors, and I think it all just worked really well together. Ooh, this one's fun. So, which were your first LPS? So I was really young when I got my first LPS. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5. I think. I'm just guessing based on when they first came out. Not to age myself, but I can show you some of them that I know I've had for a really long time, and then I'll start with the ones that could very well be my first. So I'm going to show you this one. I'll just move my mascot out of the way. So this one is... well, she's lost a bit of her fuzz over the years, so she's not in perfect condition, but this is the fuzzy short hair. So I have had this one for a very long time. I also had, I know, unfortunately I have to say had because I lost it somewhere, I think in my room, but this one came with a blue bird, a budgie type bird, but I lost that, unfortunately, but I do still have the bird bath accessory that came with the two of them, so I do technically have most of the set. So this is one of the first ones, and I also say that because it is a first gen pet. You can tell by the eyes and such, so I'm just assuming this is one of the first ones because I've had it since I was really little. And then she used to have a bit better fuzz condition, but she's still cute and I still appreciate her very much. So secondly, we have this one, which has kind of a special story. So this is the first ever LPS I ever traded with anybody to get. I was 10 when I traded for this one. I traded it with my good friend at the time, and she really wanted, I had, I believe it was an electronic diary bull terrier, if you know the one I mean. I'll try to insert a photo of the set so you have a better idea what I'm talking about. But she really wanted that one from my collection, and she said, well, I know you like cats, so I have this one if you wanted to trade. And so I did, because I really liked this one when she showed it to me. I didn't know about this one. So this one's really special to me. It always makes me think of her when I see it. And it's on my shelf. I only have so much room on my shelves, but this one, I had to put it up there. And then I recently just gave it this collar just to match the little paint splatters. It's so cute. And so I know you're never gonna probably see this and know that it's me, but thank you so much for trading this one. Even though we were 10, I still love this one, and it'll always be one of my favorites from my collection. So yeah, there's this one. And then last one I'm gonna show you is, yep, it's this guy. I know how everybody knows him as, and that he's a really popular LPS, but he's Jack. In my collection, this is Jack. I have had him for such a long time, as I'm sure you can kind of tell. He's got the chip on his nose. His paint's not perfect anymore, but I think it kind of also gives him character and shows that he's been well loved. I used him so much, like you don't even know. He was like, sometimes he was a popular guy, sometimes he wasn't, or just like a main person in whatever I was doing, whatever little fun I was up to. So I've had him for a long time. He got his name partially from me and partially from, I used to go to a babysitter, and so I would play with some of the other kids, and there was these two other girls, and they decided that his name would be Jack too. They thought it suited him, so it's kind of like a collaboration name. But he's been Jack ever since. So he's just another really special one from my childhood. Okay, so if you remember that I said that we'd be coming back to a question dealing with my queerness, this is it. I just want to make a little friendly disclaimer that if you do not support the LGBTQIA+ queer community, or if you don't support the existence of us, then I kindly ask you to just unsubscribe, unfollow me, don't watch the video. I don't have any room for any hate or discrimination or homophobia or racism or anything of the kind on my channel and my page. So if you do not support us, or if you have anything of the sort kind of views, then I please ask you to leave. Thank you. But getting onto the question, so this might be a bit personal for some people, like to answer such a question, but I actually don't mind. And I'll try not to make this too long, but the question is, how did you find out that you're pan? So aka pansexual, panromantic, I'm both. And the person even asked, like, to make sure that it's not too personal, so thank you for asking. But I don't mind asking, or I'm sorry, answering. I don't mind answering this one. So if I'm going to be honest, most of my childhood I assumed that I was straight. I didn't know that I was queer for a really long time. So it wasn't really until my later years of high school that I started to question myself, specifically grade 12. So I guess it wasn't really until then. So I had become good friends with someone over the summer. I'm not going to name them just for safety and such, but I'd become good friends with them over the summer, and it doesn't really start here. I'm just giving you some context. So I also found out as the school year started that they're a lesbian. I hadn't known. I don't mean that in like a mean or bad way, I just simply didn't know. And so they told me, just sort of in a low-key way. They were talking about someone that they knew and such, or however we got on the subject, and so I found that out, and then this is sort of where I started to kind of get a little confused, you might say. So I ended up having them in one of my classes, so they were friends, and then they were in one of my classes, and I just started to start seeing her differently. Not in a bad way, but I was also really confused at the time, so I didn't really know what was happening. For most of the year, I didn't really realize that I was developing a crush on her. these like romantic feelings. And she didn't know either. Or maybe she did, because I actually blush pretty easily and I get flustered, but I never said anything to her about it because I didn't really know. I was confused. Like, I'm being completely honest that it was a confusing time for me. And I just want you to know it's okay if you don't know right away, and if you go through like a confused period and you're like, I don't know what I am, and that's okay. You're allowed, and your confusion is completely valid. So I'm just being completely honest that it took me time to get where I am. And so because of this experience, I started to question whether I was bisexual, or bi for short. And then I ended up eventually adopting that as my label in the beginning, because I also started to look at other girls there. And then if we time jump, so now we're starting to get into the root of the actual question. So how I discovered I'm pan. So if we jump to last year, actually, I kind of just started to realize that I like people. I like people regardless of their gender. That doesn't mean I don't see you for your gender. Like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to say this as best as possible. That doesn't mean I don't see and acknowledge people's gender, but your gender doesn't dictate whether I can like you and feel romantic feelings and such. To be more specific, I like somebody right now who's in one of my classes. They were in 2 of my classes last term, but they're in a full year course of mine. They're non-binary. I'm not going to say much about them, but I just wanted you to know that so that it kind of further explains how I'm pansexual. So I really like them, and I like them for the person that they are. I acknowledge and I fully accept and of course support them for their identity. And I think they're just a really wonderful and lovely person. And I really like them for who they are. And so this is part of why I know for sure that I'm pansexual, because the best way I have of describing it is that I like people. I just like people. Your gender doesn't dictate whether I can like you. I like all kinds of people. Or, well, I have the ability to like all kinds of people. Okay, so the next question, I'm kind of surprised I don't get this one as often as I thought I might. So the question is, why is your Instagram and YouTube called Valentina LPS when your real name is Rowena? This is completely valid, and honestly a good question to ask, because I know it might not make a lot of sense that they don't match. So when I first made my Instagram, this is the first thing I made that sort of brought me into this wonderful community. I made my account back, I believe, in 2021 in December. So I've been here a little while now. It's hard to believe, but anyway. So I kind of just chose Valentina because I wanted something unique for myself. Something that people would like associate with me, even though you don't necessarily know who I am, but you'd see it and you know who it is, and it's like, oh, it's Valentina. If that makes sense. And then at the time, I didn't really want to put my actual name out there just yet, so I also use this for that too, but mostly because I really liked it. It's unique, it's something different, something just sort of for myself. So that's kind of a general idea. Okay, this one is actually not necessarily LPS related, but I've done a few questions that aren't, so we're gonna do this one too. So, when did you start songwriting and what does it mean to you? So I actually never really considered myself a songwriter. I guess I do a little bit now. So I have written, if you don't know, I play the piano. I've been taking lessons for about 6 years now. So I'm kind of, I'd say, at the intermediate level. I'm getting there. So I have written 3 songs on my piano, 3 original songs. I don't think I've ever shared them on here. If you think about more on the LPS specific side, I'm sorry, I've done, I think it's two at this point. I've done 2 original songs for 2 of my closest friends' birthdays. The first one was for my friend Change's LPS. I made a birthday song for her back in July because her birthday was in July. And then the second one I did in September for my best friend Maddie. So if we think about that one for a minute, that one is special to me not only because I wanted to help her celebrate her birthday, but also just because she is my best friend. I've known her for quite a while now, and she has honestly grown to be one of the people I feel the closest to, that I connect with the most. We really just clicked from the get-go, from straight on. So the song sort of reflects how much I care about her, how much she means to me, and the fact that she's my best friend, which you maybe could see from the lyrics too, because we've got like, well, I'm not gonna sing it. If you want, you can go and see it. It's as a reel on my Instagram, so if you go to like the reel section, it should be the last video there. But that is what that one means to me, and I could also say the same for the one I did, the other birthday song. It's just sort of, they're special to me because it shows, and it's supposed to be like a representation of how much they both mean to me, because they're some of my closest friends. Okay, what kinds of LPS videos do you watch? Alright, so this sometimes depends on the mood I'm in, actually. But overall, I really enjoy clothing hauls. I think they're really fun and something you don't necessarily see a lot of. I've done a few. I really have fun doing them and reviewing just the things that I get. I think it's just so much fun. So I also enjoy watching them. I also enjoy collection videos. I like seeing other people's collections. I did do one recently too, which was also fun to make. As well as haul videos. I like watching people get new LPS, sort of the excitement, especially if people get their dream pets. I like seeing people get really happy when they finally get ones that they've wanted for such a long time. But also, sort of like on the other side, I enjoy skits and films and series.